Hey, what's going on? If you're tuning in, we're gonna give it just a minute so before we really get going, so that people can join up. We got about six. So I'm hoping there is a few more that gonna pop in, but there we go. We're shooting up. You know, let's see. Okay, folks. There's like people just jamming into the room right now, so I'm gonna still give it just 1 minute before I get going, and then we'll kind of launch the presentation. If you're joining us and you have any questions, you can pop them into the chat, and I will try to answer them as best as I possibly can. But welcome. It's great to. I'm hoping people like this format where you can be at home and we can do like you can kind of be part of the parent meeting. It's something that we're trying to see if we can make these types of things more convenient for folks. Obviously, we wouldn't do a banquet like this, but um, as a kid who grew up in Green and had parents who lived in Green when I was a kid, I always or like deep leads or folks who are far away from the school. I think my mom would have appreciated it if she didn't have to drive a half an hour to have a half an hour meeting. And that's what we're trying to make better for folks. We got a big team. We got people living all over the place. So that's what we're hoping to do here. Oh, okay. All right. Again, as people are coming in here, um, if you have any questions, you can dump them in the chat. I'll be checking. I'm gonna have to I have like a little slideshow that has all the information. I'm gonna post that to the band as well, just so that in case there was something else for folks. But um, that's gonna be there. Hopefully, this video will be there if you have to refer to anything. But if you have any questions in real time, I'm gonna check back and forth between the slideshow and this so I can answer people's questions. Our numbers are still ticking up, so I'm still gonna wait. People are just like trickling into the room, but I'll give it by no later than like 6:34. Well, we'll get going. It's just 2 more minutes, and just hold tight. And again, if you have any questions you already want know now that you want answered, like things about the schedule or things about the season that you're like, I need someone to answer this question for me, you can put them in the chat now, and then I'll make sure to hit those as we get going. Um, or if there's any issues with audio or anything like that, I don't know. Like I'm in my office, kids' room and office. You can tell by the Legos and children's books that like my office is really not owned by me. It's owned by my kids. But I don't have a professional studio like we usually do over at Buzz Media when we do the Buzz Media stuff. But I have all of that gear with me, just a webcam. Let's see if we can, like, in my Okay. All right. I'll give it one more minute. Still got people trickling in. Then we'll get going. All right, we're losing people too. All right, yeah. So, we'll get started. And again, if you join us at any time, and any bit of information, and if you have any questions, again, just dump them in the chat. But this is 2025 outdoor track parent meeting. So I'll introduce the coaches. I couldn't figure out how to get in the chat menu in YouTube. Someone just messaged me. Oh, that's weird. Let me see if I can adjust that. And the other thing is, if the chat menu for some reason isn't working and you want to send me messages just directly in the band, you can post those. You can post questions there, and I can answer them. If for whatever reason YouTube isn't working the best, again, the first time. Oh, the real Nifty Biscuit. Refresh the stream is what I had to do. Okay, yeah. If you refresh the stream, that's what folks are doing. Maybe that'll work for you. And again, if that's not, you can just shoot me a message. I'll be checking the band. If I see anything there, I can answer questions there. So multiple ways of reaching me through your messages. Do what you need. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. That's excellent. It's like the Xbox gamer tag of names. It's like I said it in 2002, and now I'm who I am. I love it. Got it. Refreshing. So if you have any issues with the chat, you can refresh, and that seems to be working for folks. Okay, so I'm going to go back and kind of check this out. So coaches, I'm Jamie Gentara. I'm one of the head coaches. My events are sprints, hurdles, and pole vault. We also have Coach Parkin. He's the other one of our head coach, kind of my partner in crime here. He primarily coaches the throws, which is a decent, sizable part of the team. I counted the amount of kids who were in the throwers workout today, and there was like 40 something. So we have a lot of kids that want to throw. Jen Grant is our phenomenal horizontal jump coach. Nicole Fletcher is our vertical jumps coach. Isaiah Davis is our distance coach, and Sean Daigle also will come out 2 times a week and help out with the throws because of our high numbers and the fact that there's 3 events just in that one grouping. So those are our coaches. If you're like looking to get information about an event or want to talk to someone, I'm really about your kids' events, I really suggest coming through me. I'm going to get back the fastest to you. And I'm kind of like the point person of communication for our team. So if you have a question, you can get to me, and then I'll go through and we'll kind of discuss it with the other coaches or whatever your need might be. And if it makes sense for you to talk to like one of the event coaches specifically, I'll make that happen for you. But it's best just to like reach out to me through the band or something. That way we are just aware of what's going on, and we can answer your questions. Most of the time I can probably answer it. I do all of the entries and manage all of that piece. So it's usually like, is my kid ready to be entered into the hurdles? I'm the one who's going to make that determination so usually that's it. I'm the person you probably will want to talk to or message via the band. And again, anything that you let me know, if there's anything like you have an athlete who has a need and you really need Coach Fletcher to know that because they're a big high jumper and that's their passion, all that information will be shared if you go through me. That's I'm probably, again, the easiest point of contact and the most accessible point of contact. But again, if you come to like a practice or you go to a meet or something, you need to talk to any of the coaches. Everyone's super cool too. So We're a great team. I'm a really big fan of all of these coaches. Every single one of these individuals could be the head coach or a varsity level coach for at any point. So we kind of have a rock star team of I call them like Avengers level that I've like slowly recruited for throughout the years, and they are phenomenal people to work with and phenomenal with the kids. I can't be. I'm very lucky to have these folks as my coworkers and peers, and I think our kids are super lucky to have them as their coaches. So let's kind of go on. So communication, join the band is really the way. So if you're probably on this because you're already on the band, but if you have like other folks that need communications, like if we have kids with two households or something, and only one of us is in the band, it might be beneficial for everyone to be part of the path of communication. This is how I'm going to do this. With 108 people on the team, I have to kind of like streamline it into one thing. I've done it where I've used multiple different platforms at the same time before, like Facebook, Instagram, email, all of that. I find myself just repeating the message constantly to make sure everyone hits it. So we're getting join the band. It's the way to get all the information. It's where all the information is going to be. It's where everything is always going to be posted. So if you haven't joined the band, and you're like using your kids link, please do it. It's where we're going to like put schedules for vacation practice and the meet schedule, and if there's any changes, this is where it's all going to be posted. And once I get everyone signed in to it, like I'm going to leave it open for probably the next little bit. I'm going to lock it down. Not that we can't invite more people, but I'm going to lock down like notifications and comments and stuff. So it shouldn't be like ringing off the bat. And if it is, let me know, and I'm going to try to fix that for folks. I try not to lock down any settings. That way people can come in and ask whatever questions and do whatever thing they need to do, and people will notice it. But after a while, after we get the ball rolling here, I kind of lock things down. That way it's not an irritating thing to have happen for you and your families. I want the information source to be there, but I don't want it to be overbearing. We also do have an Instagram, which we're going to use. The Instagram is what we don't do in the band is we don't add any like photos or anything like that, because again, we don't want it to be like this constant feed. I mean, maybe we'll do it a little bit, but it won't be the norm. This is really just an information hub. We do have an Instagram page for fans that we manage. That's where we're going to have photos and kind of fun things. It's for the kids and folks. So for the fans, for the families, the Instagram, if you have that, you can look us up. We're like Levitt Track and Field, and we try to shine there. Okay, so join the band for communications. So the meet schedule. We should discuss this. There is let's see, so many questions. So MPA meets. If you look on the side, it says MPA meets, and then there's ones with like special names. The special names means they're an invitational. Those are not mandatory by any means. They're invites, and we're gonna have to look into this. Those are invites, and we don't take everyone. Like the Husky Throwdown, for example, is a throwers only meet. So if you don't throw, you don't go. But we'll take all the throwers that can make it to that meet. The Waterville Invitational, you have to hit like a certain standard to compete at that meet. Same with Fleet Feet, which is the same day as prom. So that one actually may even get scratched from the schedule, as that's a very competitive meet. Most of our upperclassmen have already told me they would rather they want to go to prom. So we may be looking at Fleet Feet, removing that from our schedule. KVACs and the state championships, those are our conference championships, and you have to qualify for those as well. But all the MPA meets, those are meets for everybody. Like those are meets where we're going to bring every kid to, and like kids will have say in their events a little bit, and the coaches will. Well, we choose the events, but the conversation is open for the invitationals and championship meets. Like kids really don't have say in those meets at all. The coaches will, and we decide who goes into what and who gets entered. As those are our more competitive meets, we try to win those and come home with all the stuff. So that's kind of how our schedule works. So you may look at it and go like, "Oh, that's a lot of meets." Um, well, it's a few less, not because not everyone goes on those Saturdays. So it's a big responsibility for the coaches, but less for the kids. The yeah, so those are kind of the deals. So kind of on top of the meet schedule, and as far as the MPA meets go, we're going to have to talk about transportation woes. Here's the I should I'll just spell it out. It's kind of the real deal that we're kind of in. We have I think the count as of today is 104 people on our team. We're most likely going to only get 2 buses and 2 vans. 2 buses for sure, and I'm going to have to negotiate real hard for 2 vans. And that should be enough to transport everyone. But I'm not lying to you. We're on a razor thin margin there. And it can even depend on which bus they use. We have one big bus that I've tried to communicate with transportation to say if we don't use that big bus, we can't get every kid there. And they say they understand, but they said they've also said they've understood for the past few years, and we don't always get that bus. Sometimes it's due to the fact that bus is broken. Sometimes it's due to the fact that the driver doesn't like driving that bus. We don't really have the flexibility to deal with that, so I'm hoping they understand that. However, that being said, we may need parent helpers to drive kids to meets. Just for those MPA meets. The other meets, we should be totally fine with transportation due to the fact that we're going to slice down our numbers some. And this need may arise too. And we just have to be realistic with our busing needs in our district. We may have 2 buses scheduled, and then one might get canceled, or both might get canceled. Which doesn't mean the meet gets canceled. That might mean that we have to cancel our participation in the meet, or find an alternative way for kids to get there. So the key thing that we're going to have to do is fill out one, if you're willing to help out and drive, if you could let me know, you can I'll probably put a form in the band that says I'm a driver or willing to drive, and I'll do that. You'll probably see that tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning. But also what we're going to really need folks to do is fill out a transportation form, and I'll put that in the band as well. It's kind of part of a transportation post for tomorrow. And what that transportation form will be is you can say this is my kid and I'm willing to let them drive with these families. So if they're these are the 5 families I'm willing to let them drive with, I've conversed, I've talked, I can put that in a binder and kind of have that on hand for emergency situations, in case there was a cancellation of a bus or something. That way we can potentially still get your athlete to the meet, and then we won't be scrambling last minute to figure out who can ride with who, and there may be a time where Mr. LaRoche says, well, they need a transportation form, and that may be impossible in a short amount of time, like in a day, which is how fast these things can go south. We can be planning to leave at noon, or we can be planning to leave at 1 and find out we don't have a bus at noon. So it's going to be, if I have the paperwork kind of on hand, I can solve problems. And if we don't, we may not be able to. So you'll see that in the band tomorrow as part of a transportation post. And you'll only have to do one for the season. As long as I have something, we're going to be okay. So if everyone can do that, that would be awesome. And if you're not comfortable with your kid riding with anybody, that's okay too. Just know that not everyone can have that, right? If we run into a bus thing. And this is kind of the last point. in the rare case, we can't bring everyone to the meet. What just like to be fully transparent, we're going to prioritize varsity athletes and or athletes who are close to meeting the varsity standard. We're going to bring those athletes to the meet so that we're like the most competitive. Again, our goal is to bring everybody, and this is ideally in a like rare situation, but there's that. So we already got a question about the schedule. May 2nd is a Friday. Schedule says Thursday. Is the meet the second? Friday is the meet. Friday the second or Thursday the first? That's the question on the schedule. I'll go back and take a look at that. I'm not gonna lie to you. An athlete asked me that question, and the only person who can answer, and I just found out about this typo right now. The only person who can answer that for me is Mr. LaRoche. I'm going to assume it's going to be on 5/1. I'm going to assume it's the Thursday, but I will figure out when that meet is tomorrow, and I will have that posted. I will have that change, the correction made by tomorrow. I couldn't get in touch with him. The athlete that pointed it out to me in the as practice was ending, and Mr. LaRoche was no longer in the building. So he's the only person that can answer that. I'm grateful I'm grateful that someone pointed this out. It's better to know this now than later, but I'll have that correction made out for folks tomorrow. Okay, so that's the 5-second meet. Know that looks a little wonky. Okay. Now, speaking of varsity, what is varsity? What is JV? Varsity track, what is that? So what this has been something that's been growing over the years for Levitt Track. We usually have set the standard that if an athlete competes at one of the championship meets, either KVACs and states, that's what would earn them varsity. However, we didn't necessarily like that due to the fact that sometimes it's really dependent on the field, which is dependent upon like factors outside of our own school. And I wanted to bring the full control over varsity back to Levitt for our athletes. So, and this is like, if this reflects that. This reflects the KVAC standards or the times and distances it takes to make it to KVACs. I looked at that. I looked at the past couple of KVAC meets, and these times should make it in. But the example I guess I can use is there's been times where the meet directors cut down like long jump from 18 to 12 due to weather or something. Well, I don't want to penalize if you cut down long jump from 18 to 12. A 16-foot jump may no longer make it. It might, for a boy, it might have to be like a 17 or 18-foot jump to make it. And I find that that feels kind of sticky to me. So, so these are the standards. If a athlete has run these times already for our team, they are already considered varsity members of our team. So if they have a past PR, that past personal record that is one of these, then they can consider themselves varsity. And if at any point in the season an athlete hits these marks, they can earn their varsity letter as well. That's the path. Couple side paths. If an athlete competes at KVACs and states, they'll earn their varsity title. And I should say that I also reserve the right to reward any member of our team with varsity status. And that's really going to be a rare situation. Like, I built these standards. But in case there's a situation, and we've had kids in the past that really bring a lot to the team, it's just unfortunately they were unable to make it to KVACs or states or hit a standard like this for whatever reason. And I want to note that I just want to we can still award good sportsmanship, and we can still reward great team energy, great team effort, especially over a 4-year career. to athletes that would deserve it. So I kind of want that to be in the known. Okay, so that's the deal. If there's any and the other way we're going to use varsity standards, it should be noted, is there'll be times, and this is kind of to remedy some of the headaches we ran into last year with the team this size. We were finding, especially in the field events, that we could potentially get all, let's use the throw group, all 45 kids who want to throw at the same time. Sometimes they want to throw, sometimes they want to avoid the running workout. Sometimes that's kind of, and we have to kind of suss out that reality. And also just regardless of the reality, we need to be able to like prioritize our times, so and differentiate our coaching well. So there will be times where we have varsity practices for, like, say, the throws. We might say this is varsity JAV time, and then we will also during the same week have JV JAV time. We fully understand that we want to develop our future, our athletes for the future, but we also have to provide our current varsity athletes with the quality coaching and instruction that they deserve as well. So we're going to create varsity and JV sections and times and opportunities for kids to work at their level and the events that they're passionate about. And we'll use the varsity standards to guide us in that. It may not be like 100% how we do things. What we found out today, is kind of on Friday and today, that we have a phenomenal group of female horizontal jumpers. We set our standard at 12, and in practice on Friday, we had most kids who were interested in jumping were able to hit that. It changed what we thought would be like a 12-person group to a 24-person group. We're going to have to organize a little differently to meet those needs. So it's not like we're going to take anyone's varsity status away. We just have to organize differently to, again, differentiate, prioritize, and make sure every kid is getting the coaching that they deserve. And that's kind of always our goal in this program. We want to make sure everyone is growing, whether or not they are at the top of their game, or just starting their journey. We want to make sure that everyone grows. It's really important for us in our sport. It's the growing that keeps kids coming back. It's the growing that keeps kids proud of themselves. So that's our goal with that. So if there's no question about varsity standards, and I just checked, there doesn't seem to be, moving on. Okay, attendance. So attendance is tricky with track. So this is the thing that I think is really important to understand. And we haven't run into many attendance issues in the first week at all, really. Everyone's been great. Most of the kids have been really great at communicating, and which is awesome. We need to keep that up. So attendance to track practice is mandatory. Like it is the only, like we said, our goal is to get every kid to grow, regardless of their level. We want all kids to grow. Well, the only way we grow is by working out, getting stronger, and learning skills, and practice is the place to do that. If we don't go to practice, we don't. And that defeats the purpose of our program. So, however, there's a two-sided coin there, two-sided coin with track. Unlike team practices, a person being absent, like team sports, a person being absent doesn't necessarily impact the rest of the team negatively. And what I mean is this: like if I'm doing a basketball practice and we're learning our offensive plays, well, I really need Colin to be there, because he may be a really key piece of that offensive play. And if Colin's not there because of whatever, that's a problem. We don't really have that in track. A kid can do a workout with their friend there or without their friend there. And that gives us some flexibility around what we can accept for attendance and what the consequences may be if you can't attend. Because really the only person that's being hurt by not attending is that individual, truly. Over time, it can impact the team. But if attendance is a problem over time, then the coaches will address it. However, what we do ask is for accountability, because what we find is if a kid doesn't come to practice and it is not accountable, they tend to miss more practices. And again, the growth doesn't happen. So if an athlete is going to miss a practice, whether it is for a family thing or illness or work or whatever teachers or school or whatever the need may be to miss practice, we ask that that gets communicated with a coach. Over time, the kids are going to get connected to their event coaches if they want to talk to them and not me. That's totally fine. We just need to know. We just want some level of accountability. The other thing too is, and we've had this issue before, if you tell us you're not going to go to practice, but then we find you wandering around school grounds or causing trouble, this has happened. I'll use an example. We had an athlete who was like, I can't make it to practice, but then they were like found fighting in the woods. And I had to go have a meeting with our principal and assistant principal about why there were track kids fighting in the woods. So that's a fast way to not be on the track team anymore. We can't have those things. So if you're going to communicate, please be honest. We are understanding and we're super flexible. Like pretty much all reasons are good reasons. We just want the accountability from our kids because we're accountable to them and they're accountable to us. Helps us with that relationship. But we understand. Like, for example, there will be practices over April break. Those practices are typically in the morning. We understand that can be tough for families and rides, or just anything over vacation can be tough for families and rides. And to be honest, a lot of folks go on vacation during vacation. And we're a sport that can do that. You can accommodate for the lack of rides and say like, hey, well, it's okay. Get to what you can. And we also can accommodate for vacations. Like, hey, if your parents are taking you to Florida, or you're going to Bermuda, this is the first time you're going, or whatever. Like, we're not going to get in the way of those life experiences that are awesome. Because again, it doesn't impact the rest of the team negatively. It's just, if anything, it gives the other kids more reps. So we just ask for communication. We ask that people make practices work. One thing that's totally fine, if we have a couple athletes that are dual sport athletes, meaning they're doing a travel practice here or there during the week, or they have driver's ed, or they have some other obligation. If like your basketball practice doesn't start until 5:30 in Auburn, then you can come to the whole practice. But usually that's not the case. It's always like the practice is at like 4, like it's at 5 and it's in Portland. Can I leave a little early? Yeah, you totally can. And we will manage your time effectively and have you leave when you need to leave. And the other thing is for those athletes that are doing travel sports, if you're doing a lot of travel sports, we ask that you communicate that with us too. That way we can we can kind of differentiate your workout so that you're not getting injured. Okay. We can lessen your workload. We usually are more willing to do that than the travel coaches. So again, due to that team dynamic. So really communicate with us. There's no judgment. There's no anger. We just want to make it work for you in the way that you can be successful in both sports. And we have the power to do that. So we will. Let's check the chat real quick. Nothing late. Okay. So what does my athlete need for track? Kind of the big thing is one of the biggest things is a water bottle that they can fill before they come up to the track. When we're kind of in the yucky part of the season, being the beginning, when we're sometimes stuck inside, the water is right there. We have water fountains. It's great. We have easy access and it's super convenient. What gets tough for kids is that we go up to the track during the better parts of the season where it's a little warmer, it's a little hotter, and we sometimes run into dehydration as an issue. When they say sometimes, I mean all the time. Kids need to drink more water, just on average. Everyone needs to drink more water on average. We are very dehydrated. But the kids especially, and they don't realize how much water they need, especially if they're doing our rigorous track workouts. So having a water bottle that they can fill up and fill up before they come to track practice is going to really be beneficial, especially on those hot days. And then really they should be drinking water kind of throughout the day. Though our training is just an hour and a half to 2 hours each day. It's pretty taxing on the body. We do high intensity workouts for quite a bit of the season, and because of that, um, kids just need to drink more water, kind of even during outside of practice hours. We need to be hydrated, or and I'll tell you the consequences are muscle stiffness, and then inevitably injury due to those muscles, and that's due to the high intensity of the workouts. So they have to be well hydrated in order to perform. And that's something that can help as a water bottle, kind of a reusable one. A quality pair of sneakers is the next thing. And I was even, like street sneakers, if you wore them for fashion during the day, and their primary purpose isn't for exercise, that's a really big problem. And it's the fastest way to Shin Splint Town, like it's the choo choo train to Shin Splint City. And so that's like the Vans, the kind of the Hey Dudes, the anything that like you would wear for style. That's not an athletic sneaker. Is definitely like off the table. Like Chuck Taylors, as cool as they were in the 1970s for athletics, we are just that Shin Splint City now, and eventually Shin Splints, if not managed appropriately, and that's one of the management tools is quality sneakers. It really will end up in a kind of the end of the season for that athlete. They'll be able to go to things, but they won't perform well, and they'll just be hurt. So quality pair of sneakers. What are quality sneakers? Something with a little structure to them as far as the sneaker goes. It's really hard to say like brands. I like I'm a big Hoka guy myself. Brooks are great. Sauconys are great. Asics are great, kind of depending on the shoe. But even like you have to be careful with I don't have my sneakers with me right now. You have to be careful even with brands. Like Nike is a great shoe. Don't get me wrong. But some Nikes are like style shoes. And I'll tell you, if you can like fold or twist the sneaker and it like kind of twists up like a pretzel or folds right in half really easily, it may not have enough structure to protect your child from the poundings of running and jumping, especially those two. And again, that's where just the shin splints will come from. There's that. So quality pair of sneakers. If you have any questions about sneakers and about what would work for your athlete, they can talk to me or some of the other coaches, or you can talk to me. You can send me a message through band. I'm happy to answer as many questions as you can. If your athlete is a distance athlete, especially, this is like super critical. It may be beneficial to head down to like Fleet Feet and get kind of scanned and get a real foot fitting for a shoe. It's a game changer. And I know the shoes can be like 100, 150 bucks. Like sneakers aren't cheap, but it can be a game changer for an athlete who was getting shin splints. But if we can avoid all street sneakers and then really foldy, flimsy sneakers, those that can make a difference. Black shorts for meets. Now we do have shorts available. I'm just like letting you know that we also allow for kids to use their own black shorts. Our uniform is our top in black shorts, due to the fact that like we have a runner short for some of the boys that feel short, and the girls team tends to like spandex. They've really lightened up on the rules through NFHS, so there's more flexibility in the length and stuff that can be worn. So we can allow for that. We used to give out spandex shorts, but as we've had more women coaches on our team, we've kind of gotten away from that practice due to the fact that we just don't want them back. Like the shorts that we hand out with the uniform, we would want them back, but any spandex, you can purchase whatever black spandex that you need. But they're yours forever. We don't want them. The kind of the rules on the black short. They can't have any like lines or decorations. There should be just relatively cheap black shorts. They can have one logo on them, and the logo doesn't have to match the team. If you like Nike, you like Nike. If you like whatever brand champion, whatever brand of short you like, your child likes, they probably already have a pair of black shorts that are going to work just fine, especially for regular season meets. When we get to the championship meets, we might ask them to wear our shorts, but as of that point, it's a championship meet. Comfort has to come a little secondary. The big question is spikes. Yes, sprinters and jumpers should have a pair of spikes. That's something that we will use for competition in certain practices. So they should bring their spikes to practice. And that's going to be part of it. They got to trust us, and if you can help us out with that, when we want them to wear them and when not. If we're doing like today's, we had some of the sprinters do 400s, like a 400 workout, a 400 race, 100% in spikes. 400 workout where we're doing multiple, it could be pretty detrimental to wear spikes just due to the, again, injury prevention. We want athletes to be working all season, not just one day. So spikes are a great tool. They're awesome, and can make a huge difference. One of our fastest 200 runners of all time, kind of before Mason Henderson, was not one of our fastest 200 runners at his time. And it was literally what I call like a Forrest Gump moment because of the magic shoes. He was wearing he was not wearing a quality pair of sneakers. He was wearing basketball shoes to run. And all of a sudden, his mom came in with spikes and was like, oh my God, these came in the mail today. Can he put them on? And he ran his first race with him kind of at the end of his junior year, like kind of the race right before the conference championships. And he set the school record in those spikes. So, like, can spikes make a difference? Absolutely. They can make a huge difference. And I recommend them for all competing athletes, for sprinters and jumpers. That being said, there are some things called throwing shoes, smooths. If your athlete's a thrower, you'll notice that I didn't put that on here. It's kind of best if they communicate with us on the shoe that they want to wear for the throws. Unlike spikes, they can definitely make a difference, but not as much of a difference as like technique and form can, where spikes can sometimes force proper technique and form. Throwing shoes do not. And unless an athlete is very, very good, we'll find that the throwing shoes are less impactful. Then there are things called jumping spikes. If your athlete's looking into jumping spikes, they should talk to us. Again, it's kind of the same difference. How much difference does a jumping spike make? It can make a huge difference if you're very, very good and very, very technically sound. So again, any questions, spikes you might have, that's it. Oh, Mr. LaRoche is in the chat. 99% sure the meet is Friday. Man, it is good to have Mr. LaRoche in the chat. So yes, there's that. Awesome. Okay. And again, I'll talk to Mr. LaRoche tomorrow, and we will. Well, oh no, never mind. We won't. It is confirmed. Friday the 2nd. Okay, we'll adjust that in the schedule. I'll post that in the thing. 2.75 inch maximum logo rule. I'll say that there probably is that measurement. I can also say at a regular season meet, they're not strict. That rule isn't strictly followed. I have not seen a kid get disqualified, and I've never seen a person measure a logo. So that being said, we're kind of going to go from there. So how do I support the track team? A lot of different ways. The biggest way is this Saturday. We're going to have a bottle drive from 10 to noon. Really short window for a bottle drive if you've been part of other bottle drives. And that's just due to the fact that our team size is so large that we can spread the workout pretty well. So we're going to have 2 drop-off locations. We're going to have a drop-off location at the school, and we're going to have a drop-off location at Coach Terry's on Route 4 in Turner. That's where all the bottles are going inevitably, but we like to have a place at the school for folks who are bottle driving out in Green or bottle driving out in Leeds, and that's a little closer to them. If you're in kind of a Turner, if you could go to Coach Terry's, it really saves us some travel time, unless it's super inconvenient for you. We'll obviously accept every bit of help that we can get. So here's what we encourage. We encourage every athlete to raise about $20 plus in bottles, which is like, I think I've had it estimated. It's about like 5 large contractor bags, or like 4 or 5 large contractor bags of bottles. And they can get it by talking to family, friends, neighbors. You might just have it sitting in your garage right now. You can have those, like, just getting that is full participation in this bottle drive. And if you can't make it on Saturday, because it's like life is life on Saturday, if you can, we ask that like the kids just participate on another day by getting bottles and bring them over to Coach Terry's. He's been accepting bottles for our team for like a month now, and he's ready to accept more. So if we can engage in that, and then and what we always have is and I definitely encourage, and this is more for the team camaraderie aspect, for athletes to kind of get some friends together and like go around town if they are available on Saturday. Just because like it's fun to be with your friends and do a bottle drive. It's fun to go into someone's garage and get their stinky bottles with your friends. I don't know why, but year after year it is. So I highly recommend that our teammates do that if they can. But if we just need like the quick drop off and a quick hit of our neighbors, then that's great. We have that available too. And that all of that is very helpful. There's going to be a point in time where we have volunteers. We need volunteers to help at track meets. We have 2 home track meets. So if any parent or parent or older sibling or uncle or whoever is willing to volunteer, we'll definitely take that help. And that'll be great. And then also spectating at track meets. Our kids love our fans. And if you can go, that's phenomenal. If we can go check out some track meets, a couple hints for new families coming to track meets. If your kid's never done track before, how do I watch it? Well, you definitely don't watch it like you're watching a basketball game. You're going to want to get in motion. Sitting in the bleachers is a great way to miss everything. So you're going to want to kind of get motion, walk around, check out the events, talk to kids. Like, what's nice is your kid's going to perform. What's rough is you might travel a ways to watch your kid perform for a solid total of 5 minutes. What's nice is kind of during their off times, they can converse with you. You can talk to them. You can kind of you can have a closer interpersonal communication. Like it's kind of nice because they're kind of down when they're not competing. They're kind of, they're off. They're resting. So you can be in motion at a meet, and that's a really great way to do that. Standing still is a great way to miss everything. So it's a great, as much as it's a workout for the kids, it's a great workout for everybody. And then the other thing is at our 2 home meets, we'll probably run some snack shacks due to the fact that we have to, and some time to organize those 2. So kind of be on the lookout for that. If we can have some parents to help us like stock and man a snack shack that can raise some great funds for our team. And kind of on the point of fundraising, what are we fundraising for? Well, we're fundraising honestly for all of the needs of the team. We rent poles for our pole vaulters through those funds. If there's kids if we need extra uniforms because our team keeps on growing, the district is definitely paying for uniforms for us, which is awesome. But those are on a rotation. So if things get like damaged or broken, which sometimes that happens, we'll have funds to replace that. So every kid can have a uniform. If we have to supplement some equipment or some high jump mats in the future, like that's where all this money goes to. It goes to running our program. It goes to making sure that every kid on our team has what they need to be successful. We've been one of the things that we do. The jumpers we're leaving off of one today. I don't know if you know, but jump boxes are wildly expensive things. It can be like a couple $100 for one box. Or you can have a Mr. Leposki, shop teacher extraordinaire, build you boxes at a much reduced rate, which it's really easy to help fund that through booster programs like ours. So if you can help out in any of our kind of fundraising aspects, that's going to be a phenomenal way of doing it, of supporting our track team. Let's see. Any questions? So I'll kind of leave it up to kind of the chat for a minute. If folks, if you have any questions, kind of post it there, and I'll hang out for a second. And if not, if you have any individual questions that you don't want to share in the chat, you can always send me it. You can always send me your questions in the band. Again, that's the best way. I check it regularly to make sure that, honestly, to make sure if anyone has any questions, they get answered. Thank you for joining me. It was nice to kind of wrap this up in kind of less than a half an hour. So I hope this was not a huge interruption to your dinner times and to your homes this evening. And I hope you have a great night. We'll see you on the track. Oh, yeah, no, this is a good point too. As people are leaving, if you're volunteering at a meet, don't hesitate to volunteer too. If you're like, I don't have any track experience, some of the jobs that we ask people to volunteer for is it's really like sometimes as simple as putting up a bar or like raking a pit and making something smooth, like, or even like going and fetching something. There's like a lot of jobs that you can do without having track expertise, and that allows us to actually help, like, to find people who do have expertise in track, so that they aren't helping in other places. They're being experts in the places that they can be experts in. So, yep. But again, we'll be putting out that information too out when it gets a little closer to meet planning time, which is actually not going to be that far away. Probably after April break, you'll see April break schedules in the band. You'll see all the information leaking out in the band as we go, as you need it. Again, thanks for joining me tonight. And yeah, I'm going to end the stream.